Hey there, it's me again. This is the second time I've recorded this. Actually, I didn't even get into it because I messed up the recording. So, I'm starting over. How are you doing today? How are you? Caden, how you doing? Doing alright? Good. Haley, how you doing? Good. Caleb, Gant, how are you? You should turn in some work. That'd be great. Thank you. Third period, shout out. John Underwood, where's my work, buddy? Hope you're doing good. Hope Berkshire's treating you well. Fourth period. How's it going? Randy, you still awake? Yeah? Yeah? Devin? Turn that work in. Yeah? I see you. Jackson. Hey, how's it going? Sarah, how's it going? Ty? Who's next? That was fourth period. Fifth period. Hi. Tiandra. Hi. I see you. Who else is in fifth period? Harley? Devlin? How's it going? Zachary? Mr. Davenport? Bradley Rockwell? I see you. Rudy? How's it going? Sixth period? I see you. I see you guys. Emily, how's it going? Y'all doing good? Who else is in sixth period? I can't even remember anymore. Kobe. Hi, Kobe. Aiden, what's up? Camden. How you doing? Seventh period? I don't even know if seventh period goes to school anymore because none of them want to turn in any work. Leonica, Trey, how's it going? JC, hi. Hunter, hi. Who else is there? Cutter, how's it going? Crane, hi Crane. I see y'all's faces. I miss you guys. This isn't fun anymore. Oh, my mom was asking me. She's like, because you know that curfew. She said, what's the point of having a Whataburger open 24 hours if with the curfew you can't go in the middle of the night and get food? And I thought that was a very good question. And then she called Whataburger to ask, because what is going to happen if you're out during the middle of a curfew? Are they going to arrest you? Are they going to give you a ticket? I don't know. Shout out to Haley. Gotta shout out to Haley. Did I just do that? Did I say shout out to Haley earlier? I don't know. I recorded this thing twice, so I don't remember. Welcome to Miss Crone Teaches You from Her Living Room because we're in the middle of a global pandemic and she doesn't know what day it is and can't be bothered to put on real clothes. That is a true statement. Sorry. I had a lot of plans, okay? I was gonna project my presentation on my TV and I was gonna get up and I was gonna teach you like you were in class. And then I thought, there's only going to be about 20 people who actually watch this. So I'm going to sit in my chair and I'm going to drink my chocolate milk and I'm just going to talk to you like you're here. So if that's fine with you. If you survive the pandemic without cutting your hair, then you deserve an award. Because not all of us did that. I wonder if I could make this. I'm really self-conscious about my chins now because apparently that's all I have. That's all I have to offer the world is 14 chins. Put a box underneath my laptop. That might work, right? Might that work? Nope, they're still there. Whatever. It's fine. Oh, I gotta move this way. This is what happens when I start moving stuff. Oh, that's still not any good. I mean, it's the opposite of what you're thinking. There you go. We're gonna learn about Ronald Reagan today. Ronald Reagan was president during most of the 80s. So that's fun. The 80s were a fun time. A lot of good things happened in the 80s. I can't really think of them. Oh, like the internet and stuff. Computers, all that stuff. Got started in the 80s. What else? We'll talk about it then. It'll be fine. I found a roll of toilet paper. An extra roll of toilet paper. Just one roll, but That's fine. At this point, I'll take one roll of toilet paper. What else has been happening? Not much. Yeah. There was a noise in my house. Alright, so let's talk about Ronald Reagan. Before we actually get into this PowerPoint, I wanted to show you a couple things. Ronald Reagan he wasn't like a Washington insider. He was very much he was an actor, actually. He started in Washington, in Hollywood. He was an actor, and people really liked him. Why can't I find this? This is what I want. Is this what I want? Yeah, this is what I want.
One of the great challenges.
Oh my God, are we getting an ad for real? There wasn't an ad a while ago. That's Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a pretty cool dude. You should watch him talk about the universe. This is not what I wanted. Where is it? He told somebody to shut up. It was great. Ah, here we go. Oh, turn the volume on, Amanda.
Out to be to his advantage. The indicator lost his cool, and even that turned out to be to his advantage. It was in San Diego, the last stop on the last day of the campaign. He's tired. There are problems with the lights, and there's a heckler that just won't quit.
There are cities in Michigan. Oh, shut up.
So, can you imagine a president nowadays doing something like that? It would be all over the news. But Reagan was just Reagan. Reagan was elected in 1980. And if you'll remember, I told you about the curse on the president, if you will recall. Now, if it's a real curse, we don't know, but there was a curse on the president. 1960, JFK was elected. JFK was shot. So, as it goes, it's every 20 years. So, 1980 is the next president that was up for getting shot or getting assassinated, and it was Ronald Reagan. And it happened. Ronald Reagan had an assassination attempt, but he didn't die. And it was in the 80s, so they had TV, they had news cameras, they had news footage of it. Come on, buddy.
That didn't make much sense, Henry. He puts you here and then he runs around with a big tongue. President
Reagan! Secret Service are on that dude. Like, they don't even care. They're not even playing. He's out. Guns drawn like it's a 1980s cop sitcom. And you can see in the background over here, they shoved Reagan in the presidential limo and they got him out of here. He was shot. There was a couple of people that had got shot. One of his Secret Service agents got shot. So there were people who got shot. The guy who did it got arrested. He was he's still alive. He was declared insane and he's in a mental institution, but he's still alive. There were some Secret Service agents that were hurt, that were paralyzed for the rest of their lives and stuff like that. So later, Reagan was in Berlin giving a speech.
By its very existence
and this, hold on. I want to make sure you get this whole thing because it's too good. So this is after he got shot, after he recovered, and he wasn't like shot real bad, it was a recoverable thing. Reagan was also an older president. Like, he was, God, I want to say he was in like his he was older of one of the older presidents. So this is after he got shot, after he recovered. He's in Berlin giving a speech, and a balloon pops, and this is his response.
By its very existence and character, Berlin remains the most compelling argument for an open world. We're reminded of the many traditions of openness and democracy that have marked the history of this city. America missed me.
Missed me. Savage. Probably one of the reasons why he's Remington's favorite president, yeah? You think? So, yeah. This is all about Reagan in the 80s. I was born in 1985, so Reagan was technically president when I was born. I don't know why it's so important to know who the president was when you were born, because you don't remember the president when you were born. You don't even start paying attention to the president until you're like a teenager or something like that, you know? But he technically was president when I was born. My parents speak highly of him because the economy was pretty decent. There's a movie called Miracle on Ice. It's about an figure skating, ice hockey team that went to the Olympics and won. It's based on a true story. You should watch it. I've never seen it. Reagan had gained popularity as a Hollywood movie star before becoming California's governor in 1967. There he is with Miss Marilyn Monroe. And so he became governor of California, which is kind of interesting because the same thing happened with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a movie star, and then he became governor of California. But Arnold Schwarzenegger can't become president because he wasn't born in the United States, so sorry. Got you a bad luck, bro. So when Reagan takes over, Carter had been dealing with, remember Carter, the peanut farmer from Georgia? He had been dealing with a really crappy economy. He'd been dealing with the Iran hostage crisis and all this stuff that really stacked all the cards against Carter. I mean, it was bad. Carter got a bad deal. And so when Reagan came in, Reagan inherited all these issues, and so Reagan became this symbol of hope and pride, and he defeated Carter so much. Yeah. I mean, if that's not a butt whooping, I don't know what is. Alright? That's a butt whooping. Poor bad. Reagan brought forth his thing called Reaganomics, which is his economic policy. He brought the presidency new economic policies advocating a limited government and economic laissez-faire philosophy. We've talked about laissez-faire. The crazy thing about all this is history is just cyclical, y'all. Everything that we are talking about now has happened before. It's just everything, history repeats itself. It's crazy. So he brings back laissez-faire economics. Get the government out of the economy. Give the money to the businesses, cut the taxes on the businesses, and then the businesses will stimulate the economy. That was the whole idea of Reaganomics. Reaganomics believed in cutting taxes for the businesses, and then the businesses would use the money that they didn't have to pay the government to make new investments, to create jobs, to build more stores, to build better products, all of those things. And also, more goods would mean lower prices, which would mean more money. Just better. So, it's also called, I believe, supply side economics. And it's basically the Republican version of the economic plan. Yeah. I will say one more thing about that. You'll see that a lot in your lifetimes. That whenever a Republican is elected president, you're going to see there be less taxes on businesses and people, and there's going to be less taxes on businesses. And then when Democrats are president, or in power, you'll see the businesses have more taxes. I don't know if I said that right, so I'm going to say it again. So with Republican presidents, the businesses will have to pay less taxes, and with the Democrats, the businesses have to pay more taxes. So that's why you should not be surprised to see Republican presidents support these big businesses. Trump is a billionaire. He knows how to run a business. He's going to support businesses. That's the Republican way. Democrats, on the other hand, are more directed towards the people, and so they're going to raise the taxes on businesses, lower the taxes on people, and give the people more of the, give the people more of the power, but it's not really. It's the government getting more involved in, like, where the taxes and who creates jobs and all that stuff. So it's a very complicated issue. Hopefully you get to talk more about it when you talk about government next year as seniors. There's a lot of varying issues. At the end of the day, though, I think this is an important thing to remember, that it doesn't matter who's in power, Democrats or Republicans. We're basically all just pawns at their power game. Their politicians' main goal is to get reelected. And that's just the sad truth of it. If you go back in our history to, like, when Washington was president, Thomas Jefferson and all that, those men were independently wealthy. They made their money before becoming politicians. Back then, being a politician wasn't a means to become wealthy. And nowadays, it seems like these people get in office and they're just in there forever, and they're making, like, there's no reason that people in Congress should be millionaires, but because of lobbyists and different things, that's the truth of the matter. I can rant about that all day long, too. Reagan reshapes the court. He appoints two very conservative, because he was very conservative. We talked about conservative and Democrats when we talked about Nixon. Go back to that video if you don't remember. Antonin, I don't know, Big Tony, Scalia, I can't remember. He's dead now. He died not too long ago. And Sandra Day O'Connor, who's not dead, but she did retire. She was the first woman Supreme Court justice, so it took until the 1980s for that happened. But she also is, she's still alive. She does a lot of civics education. She's a pretty cool lady. Reagan believed the U.S. should support groups that were fighting to overthrow communist government. Guess what? The Cold War is still going on during this time. It's coming to an end. We're not going over and fighting in these major wars like in Korea or in Vietnam, but we're still throwing support around to places that are fighting communists. And this is called the Reagan Doctrine. Two places Reagan implemented this policy were Afghanistan and in Nicaragua. Nicaragua is in Central America, and Afghanistan, of course, is in the Middle East. In Afghanistan, Reagan sent aid to Afghani fighters. Afghani? I need to go back and teach geography again. Freedom fighters who were fighting off a Soviet invasion. And then in Nicaragua, things got a little bit tricky. Reagan's involvement in Nicaragua led to a scandal that became known as the Iran-Contra scandal. This is very confusing, the Iran-Contra scandal, okay? So, I'm going to read it and then I'm going to break it down for you, okay? The Iran-Contra scandal was a scandal during Reagan's presidency over an arms for hostages deal with Iran. In exchange, funds for Nicaraguan rebels known as the Contras. And so, apparently Reagan didn't know about any of this stuff. Now, did he know? He probably knew, let's be honest. But members of the Reagan administration secretly arranged for the illegal sale of guns to Iran in exchange for hostages. Back in the 80s, they were taking people hostage all the time. The Middle East would just be like, I'm going to take these people. These are Americans? Who cares? I'm going to take them hostage. And we didn't go to war over it. We did send people to, like, negotiate and stuff. But, yeah, they were like, let's just take some people hostage. The money was then illegally funded to support an attempted overthrow of Nicaragua's communist government. So, I really need. Do I have a whiteboard handy? Oh my god, I do! Oh, wait, I gotta go over here. Alright, hi. Okay. Where's my marker? Okay, so, this is stupid difficult to, follow. Okay, in Iran, right, there were hostages. They're behind the bars, right? And Iran was like, you gotta give us some money and then we'll let you have the hostages. Okay? But, the United States doesn't, cater to terrorists, right? Why would we give them money? We'll just come fight you. Hold on. Meanwhile, in Nicaragua, there's a communist leader. Oh, that's a great drawing. We're just going to pretend like that never happened. This is a gun. Okay? There was a communist leader. He's a bad guy, right? He's a real bad guy. And there's all these people that want to overthrow him. But they got no help. Oh, he's a communist. How do I draw communist? Oh, I know. You know what? You know what color symbolizes communism? That's right. He red. There we go. So there's all these rebels that want to overthrow him, but they ain't got no money and they ain't got no guns. Okay? I'm trying to make sure I say this right. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. So, I'm just making sure I had this right. So, instead of giving money to Iran, we're not going to do that. We don't do that. We don't give you money. We don't do that. We're not giving you money. No, we're not doing it. We don't do that. This is the United States. These colors don't bleed, okay? But instead, we will sell you some very nice pew-pews, right? We got lots of guns. It's a very good gun drawing, okay? That is so good, right? That's the best gun drawing. So we give them a whole bunch of guns, right? I don't know how many we gave them, but we gave them a lot, right? And they gave us a whole bunch of money. And we were like, all right, so we give you some money. We give you some guns. You let the hostages go. Ridiculous. Yeah. So, we give you guns. You let the hostages go, right? You give us money for the guns, because we can't be trading guns for hostages. That don't look right. Then they took the money, and they gave it to the Nicaraguan rebels down here, which gave them guns so that they could overthrow their communist leader. That's a lot, isn't it? So, that's a lot, man. The 80s were a complicated time. So, in Iran, we give them guns. Oh, I can't spell. They give us money. We give that money to Nicaraguan rebels fighting communists. There's no easier way to explain that. I mean, there might be. I don't know. But it's like the freaking love triangle over here. So, it's as good as I can get for you. Okay? If you were in front of me right now, you'd probably be like, glass glazed over, and I'd probably come up with some brilliant way to explain it. I probably have a poster in my room somewhere that I was going to get out and show you and be like, look guys, this is how it goes. But we don't have that right now, okay? Go watch. If you want a better explanation, go watch one of those Green Brothers do the history videos, okay? This is all you can get from me right now. Alright, anyway. Sorry. The key figure in all this was this guy. National Security Council Military Aide Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. Democrats called for an investigation, want to know if President Reagan knew about all this stuff that was going down, because we gave guns to Iran, and then we gave money to Nicaragua to help them overthrow their leader. We're surprised they didn't go to war with us. But anyway, there was no evidence ever found. Now, Oliver North said he was authorized to do everything that he did, which meant he was told to do that by his boss, and his boss was the president. So, I don't know. Who knows? It's one of those things that we'll probably never know the truth. Reagan probably knew about it. I mean, what president doesn't know what's going on, the inner workings like that? But, oh look, there's a better picture. We give guns to Iran, they give us money, which means no more hostages. And then we give the money to the Nicaraguans. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. Fun fact for all of you people, the guns that we gave Iran, they later used against us. Isn't that fun? It's not fun, it's tragic. It's full on tragedy, man. What else? Oh, what else happened in the 80s? There was a barracks bombing in Beirut, Lebanon, where a whole bunch of 300 American and French military got killed. In Grenada, there was another thing where Venezuela, we got them in a lot of stuff in the 80s. Some crazy stuff going on. 84 comes around, Reagan wins a landslide re-election, the largest re-election in American history, I think. Wait, hold on, let me think about this, because I looked this up the other day. I mean, besides, George Washington. The space shuttle. Y'all. Okay, so when I was a kid, I loved space, right? I love space. The space shuttle first launched in 1981, and it was the Columbia. The thing about the space shuttle that was different from all those Apollo missions of the 60s and 70s, well, the 70s, I guess, late 60s and early 70s, is that the space shuttle could come back to Earth and be reused. It carried astronauts into orbit, into our little funky space station mirror that we had at the time, nothing like what we have now. And they would get up there and they would fly around and do their stuff, and the big cargo bay doors would open and they would do spacewalks, and it was so cool. And then they would come back and they would land, and there would be these big celebrations and stuff like that. And it was just so magical and so cool. And it was this happened through the 80s, through the 90s, up until the early 2000s. We had space shuttle missions. And when they came home, it was like an airplane, So, it's just so, the space shuttle, man, I'm sorry that you guys missed that, because during y'all's life, y'all never grew up with, space stuff. But we did. We had space stuff where you would, when I was, I was a teenager, they had, NASA TV, and you could watch, the mission control, and, every time they would blast it off, you could see it. Look at this gas cloud, the smoke and stuff up there. It was this big thing, and it was so cool. And it just being a kid, and even just watching it on TV and watching the space shuttles go up and then watching them come back, and everybody came back okay, and it was just really cool. And it was just, it's an important, the space shuttle program was an important part of NASA and a part of the space exploration and stuff like that. And not only that, but I think it opened the imagination of a lot of kids at the time. And those kids are now my age doing cool stuff for NASA. So I wanted to be an astronaut so bad. I wanted to go to space camp, and I wanted to go to NASA, and oh my god, I loved it. So in 1986, there were several space shuttles, right? And they would go in rotation. So one would go up and do its mission for a week or a few days or a week, and then it would come down, and then they would have to do repairs, and they'd have to prep it for the next time. But in while that was happening, the next space shuttle would like go up, and so January 20th, 1986 was a tragedy for the world, but for the United States. The Space Shuttle Challenger exploded. This was the first time that a space shuttle had exploded. And these things launched in Cape Canaveral, Florida. And when they would have these huge crowds, like thousands of people would show up just to watch the space shuttle go off. This one was different. It had 7 members, and one of them was a teacher, a person who wasn't an astronaut. She got picked. She went through astronaut training and all that stuff, but she was going to be the first teacher in space, and like they had all these plans that they were going to do. But shortly after takeoff, the space shuttle exploded and it killed everybody instantly. And so this was a really tragic day. And then, so that was tragedy. That was really terrible. I don't remember it. I was like 6 months old, so I don't remember that. But when we get to the 2000s, when we start talking about the 2000s, I'll talk to you about the Columbia explosion, which happened in 2003. And it was another space shuttle that exploded. And when that space shuttle exploded over East Texas, that kind of marked the end of the space shuttle program. And so it was really sad. Yeah, they had space shuttles going all throughout the 80s, and if you go to Houston to NASA in Houston, which is in Houston? Yeah, it's in Houston. You should go. I was like a little kid, because when you go through the gate, there's a space shuttle right there. It's a real one too. Like, oh my God, there's a space shuttle. But they have garden and memory markers for all of the astronauts that had got killed, and they also have a special place for the Challenger disaster. But yeah, that's cool. I want to go back to NASA, but can't because we're in the middle of quarantine. I'm fine. Okay, moving on. So Reagan in the Cold War. Reagan wasn't all about détente. He didn't want peace. He wanted to say, no, we're not going to negotiate with the Russians. We're not going to do any of this stuff. He said, we're going to build up our military and we're going to show them who's boss. And so he built up a huge military program called Star Wars. Not that Star Wars. Not that one. Although Ben Solo deserved better. But it's called Star Wars. And basically what it is space lasers. Okay? You take the Earth, and around the Earth is space, right? And you put a big gun in space, and when Russia decides they're going to send an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile, towards the United States, our space guns are going to detect that and blow them out of the sky. Space guns. Called Star Wars. Yeah. Yep. Because, yeah. Here's you a lovely picture. So, ICBM coming from Russia, right? Our satellites detect it, and our space lasers blow it up. Look at all these communications and radar and satellites and Cheyenne Mountain Operations Center, which is NORAD. Man, we were in the middle of like space lasers and satellites and all kinds of stuff. And those space shuttles were the ones that were putting the satellites up there. So this is a cool time to be alive, man. In 1987, Reagan went to the Berlin Wall, which was still there. And he told Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down this wall. He said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. And it's a long speech.
Now the Soviets themselves may, and now the Soviets themselves may in a limited way be coming to understand the importance of freedom. Permitted to operate with greater freedom measures intended to raise false hopes in the West or to strengthen the Soviet system.
I'm not going to play the whole thing, but yeah, he basically said the Eastern Germany shouldn't be controlled by the Russians anymore and tear down the wall. And in 1990, they did. And Germany was reunified, and today it's Germany again. So, if we were in class, we would talk more about this, and we would analyze this the speech, because it's a very important speech in U.S. history, but given the current things, we can't. EPA scandals, Environmental Protection Agency, Sewergate. Basically, they were giving politicians money to overlook the fact that they were dumping chemicals. Yeah. Savings and loan crisis. I'm not going to go over that. Not going to do it. Housing and urban development. Urban development. I don't think that's in your teaks anymore either. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not. Pop culture, the 80s. Look at this. The original Nikes, y'all. The original. Pac-Man, a Chia Pet. That is not how you spell Chia. Whoops. Yeah, Chia Pet. A Rubik's Cube, which I had a student who was also kind of related to me. Shout out, Sean. It's actually Miss Graves' son-in-law. Not kidding. Miss Graves' son-in-law, Sean. He can put together, like, if you mess up a Rubik's Cube and you give it to him, he could in high school. I don't know if he still can. But when I taught him, he could. 12, 11, 10 years ago, whenever. He could put it together in, like, a minute. It was crazy. I videoed it once. I don't know if I have that video somewhere, but it was totally cool. What else? Did people really dress like that? I don't think they dress like that too much. Some of the costumey stuff that we do now for, 80s Day with, the tutus, I definitely don't think they wore tutus. There was some fringe. There was some stuff like that, but it wasn't crazy like it was today. You've got the show Married with Children, which was a big one. Cheers. I used to love Cheers. The A-Team. It was the original A-Team, not the movie, which is a great movie, and I totally recommend it. The original A-Team was a TV show. Dallas, and then the Cosby Show, which was a big important thing in the 80s because it showed. The Cosby Show was the first show. I guess the Jeffersons was too, but the Cosby Show was different because it showed a African American family in America that the husband was a doctor, the wife was a lawyer, they were successful, educated, people, and that was really important. And so yeah, Cosby Show was great. Growing up, I remember watching the Cosby Show. Some stuff has come out about Bill Cosby since then. He's not a great dude. He's done some bad stuff. But the show was really good and really funny, and it had that family element. It used to be a lot more sitcoms than what we have today. Movies. Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, pretty decent. I liked it. I think I saw it in its entirety for the first time not too long ago. The technology doesn't hold up that well, but it's still pretty good. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, yes, go see that. Go Netflix that, right now. Harrison Ford, 10 out of 10. It's great. It's great. It's fun. It's good stuff. E.T., definitely watch E.T. E.T.'s a classic, man. That is some good stuff. Another spacey theme from the 80s. God, I love E.T., man. E.T.'s, that's some that's good quality entertainment right there. That movie holds up. And then the last Star Wars movie, Return of the Jedi, came out in, okay, hold on, 83 or 85, I can't remember. So Ben Solo deserved better. I just rewatched the latest Star Wars movie because I just got it right at home, and Ben Solo deserved better. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Music, yeah, music was a good time in the 80s. All right, Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, Purple Rain, Prince, Michael Jackson's Thriller, which was not only an important musical thing, it was also just a pop culture and fashion and the whole thing. You got Madonna, you got Duran Duran. Oh my God, so much good music came out of the 80s. So it's pretty exciting stuff. That's not even the tip of the iceberg, man. We talk about 80s. You can talk about 80s country music. Good stuff right there, especially the late 80s for country music was a good time. You had like George Strait coming on the scene, Reba McEntire coming on the scene, Garth Brooks. I mean, that was some good quality country music time. So, and carrying into the 90s. Not the crap you have now. Like, this is good stuff. So yeah, that's that. I wanted to show you guys something that I thought you would find interesting, and this doesn't have anything to do with your notes, and so if you're done, if you don't want to listen to me anymore, you can shut this off and go do your quiz. I don't care. But I wanted to show you something about history that makes things cyclical. In 1918, we talked about this, but it's been a long time. We talked about the flu, right? The Spanish flu that happened. My great grandparents passed away during this time, and so did so many other people. And so I keep seeing, I follow a lot of history things on like Instagram and stuff like that because I like history, and it's so interesting to see so many of the pictures, the parallels of the pictures of what's going on today with the masks and things like that, and how it went so fast, and how you know, people weren't prepared for it, and things like that. And so it's kind of interesting that it's been 100 years basically, and the same thing that's happened is happening again, you know. Yeah, still went to work to protect themselves. So, yeah, it's not really the Spanish flu, but this will be an interesting read. But you should look up about the Spanish flu, or the 1918 flu. It spread pretty quickly as well, and then it died out. I guess hello. I guess the thing I wanted to say about that is that, you know, history repeats itself, and not exactly, but it does. And so if you're feeling kind of apprehensive about the things that are going on in the world today, just know that, like, human beings are very resilient, and we survive. We've been surviving for a long, long time, and we find a way, you know. In 1918, with the flu epidemic, they didn't have the technology that we have now. They didn't have the resources that we have now, and they made it through. A lot of people died, but, you know, a lot of people didn't. So a lot more people didn't than did. So, you know, just follow the guidelines from the CDC, and the CDC didn't even exist back then. The World Health Organization didn't exist back then. I'm surprised that they were able to do what they did with the information that they had, because, you know, they were getting information via, telegraph, you know, radio, whatever. So just keep yourself safe, and, you know, we're all going to be a lot more grateful, I think, when this is all over. I think we're all going to realize that, you know, to be more grateful about the things that we have. I know I am. The first time I get to go back to a Mexican restaurant and sit down with some chips and salsa, I'm going to be very happy, and not take it for granted so much. So, it's definitely one that you guys will be able to tell your grandkids about. I've been watching, this is crazy, but I've been watching a lot of, like, this makes me a boomer, I'm telling you, but, the YouTube algorithm has been saying, these are TikToks you need to watch during the quarantine. So I click on it, and some of them are really good and pretty clever. So I saw one where the kid was like, it's like 20, 30 something, and the kid's like, I don't want to go to school, and it's like, boy, back in my day, we had a pandemic and we couldn't go to school, so, I know we all, even teachers, like, we get tired and we're like, oh, I don't want to go to work, or I don't want to go to school, this sucks. I guess it's all going to make us a little bit more grateful, because things can be taken away very quickly from us, and so it's one of those lessons that I guess maybe a lot of us needed to learn, to be grateful for what we have, because things can change very quickly, very quickly. I was surprised at how quickly things changed. Like, it was a week, and it was like all of these things were taken from us, within a week. So, stay safe, wash your hands, don't go out if you don't have to. I know it sucks. It really does suck. Imagine if you're a senior this year. I have kids that I've taught that are college seniors who aren't going to get to walk the stage and get their college diploma, which is a big deal, and maybe bigger than a high school diploma for some of them, I can't imagine that working that hard and waiting for that moment, and then, that not happening. So, take care of yourself. I miss you guys. You know what? You're gonna have a kick butt senior year, because y'all are going to make sure. That's the thing about the junior class. Y'all have a great opportunity, right? Because y'all know what it's like for these seniors right now, and you know that it's like, oh man, that's crazy. Y'all are going to cherish every moment of your senior year, and you're gonna make memories, and you're gonna make sure they count, and you're gonna be like, yes, we're going to do this, and we're going to show up for this, because the seniors last year didn't get to do it, or whatever. And so, yeah, make those things count. Make those memories count. So, love you guys. I've talked too long. Come hang out with me on Google Meets, Monday, Tuesday. I think it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday this week. I'll be there from 12:30 to 1. Come by and say hi, or if you have a question, say hi if you want to. Email me anytime if you have questions about work. If you see that your grade's messed up, please email me and let me check it. I am accepting late work, so please, just because there's a 0 in the grade book doesn't mean you can't turn it in. Please turn in your work. If you need any help, or if you need anything, please let me know. Yeah, love you guys. Miss you guys. We'll have to come do another teacher parade. We should do one at like midnight. Be like sneaking around town midnight with our teacher parade. Just kidding. That would probably get us arrested. Yeah. Okay. Maybe next time I do one of these, I'll actually like put on clothes and like makeup and like brush my hair and like try. We'll see. No promises. Alright, bye guys. Be good.